Hey guys, I'm Jennifer Malloway. I'm a dog trainer and behavior consultant, and I'm here to help you have the most magical relationship with your dog imaginable. Today, I want to talk about a question that I get all the time, which is when can I stop using food to train my dog? Now, if you've ever asked this question, I first of all want to applaud you for being among the majority of dog owners today who understand that modern humane dog training uses food. Full stop. That's a big win. Among that majority of them, a lot of people ask this question though: how long do I have to use food? And today I'm going to explain all about it, really, so that you can decide for yourself. I will explain why I continue to use food well beyond, a year and a half, and probably for my dog's whole life. But the options are open to you. So let me say hi to those of you who are joining me already. Hi, CK's Antics, Construction Cronies. Hi, Jesse and Say, and Christina St. John. Welcome. It's good to see some new faces here. So, first of all, tell me this: have any of you asked that question? Are you still training your dogs? And if you are you using food? It's it's just such a common question, but it's one of those things that doesn't really have a simple answer. So I thought it would be a really good topic to dive into today. So I would like to start out by acknowledging right off the bat that I understand, at least I think I understand why people want to stop using food, or they want to at least get away from it, if not use it at all. I get that. I get that food can be messy. You can get your hands messy. You can, it can be crumbly. You can make a mess in your home, and that requires more cleaning, as if we haven't got enough to do. You can create a mess in your jacket pockets, which is harder to clean. You can forget that mess is in your jacket pockets, but your dogs don't forget, and then your jacket pockets have holes, and that jacket was so expensive, and now it's ruined. Or worse, you can leave a jar of wet baby food in your coat for days in the closet, and you totally didn't remember, and then now your coat and the whole closet stinks, and you have to air it out for days, and that smell is awful. Excuse me, would you like to join us? Come here. Yeah, so there's a lot of food's messy, and it attracts critters, and it's just an extra thing to carry. I get all that. But there's a long list of reasons that we do use food for dog training, which I'll get into as soon as I address whatever Dizzy's barking at. Hey, Diz, come on, come over here. You want to come sit with the people? Here, I'm going to set him up a chair. Here you go. You can join the party. Come here. Hop up. There we go. Is that better? And Dizzy's gonna get some food. Let's see. Jesse's on YouTube. Hi. Say says, I follow the Malloway method now. Hey, wait, that's not a thing yet. We haven't. What's the Malloway method? I do use food with simple commands with my doggos now, and they respond very well to it. Good. Oh, I'm glad the beagles too. I'm glad to hear that they're they're pretty food motivated. That's good. Oh, keep the treats in plastic containers around the house. Yes. Did I show you? Okay, we'll get into this. But first of all, did I show you guys this? I've talked about keeping food in containers around the house, but did I show you the new ones that I got? So these are similar to OXO brand, which I love OXO, but I just got these ones off of Amazon, and they're nice because they're the little pop tops, so they keep them a little more airtight than just a regular Tupperware. But they also have this little thing so that you can rest the lid on the side, which I think is just super awesome. So I'm really excited about these. So we've got even more containers around the house for food now. Yeah, so yeah, Dizzy Daisy will do almost anything for food. Um, okay, well, so why do we use food? Let's talk about these reasons. So first of all, when you're training, especially when you're training a new behavior, um, the time between when the behavior occurs and the time that the reward process begins has to be pretty immediate. I mean, I'm talking half a second. Um, and for that reason, food is something that's very quick to deliver to them. So that speed, we can usually be very quick about it. So faster delivery of the reward means faster training and fewer repetitions. So the dog will pick up on it faster. Did you leave, Diz? Oh, he's like, I'm done with y'all. There's no more food happening. No, so faster to get to the dog. It's they swallow it pretty quickly, so it's faster to consume and then move on to the next repetition. So it speeds up training for a second reason, meaning, that treat's down, we're on to the next one. You can get a lot of repetitions in, and repetitions, just like working out those muscles, the more reps you get in, the stronger the behavior will be. So food is very highly conducive to fast, efficient training for that reason. It's also convenient. You may not, that one may be disputable because, for some people who aren't used to carrying around a bag of treats on your waist or in your pocket, you might think it's a little inconvenient. But compared to some other ways that we have available to us to reinforce behavior that we like, food is very convenient. I mean, the fact that it can fit in your pocket or around your waist makes it that convenient. And I will get into some of those other reinforcers later on. But trust me, food is one of the more convenient ways to go. So let's see. Most dogs, reason number 4, most dogs will readily work for food. So it's just like, if you were to rank the things that a dog values in life, I'm not speaking of dogs as a species. I'm speaking of an individual dog. You can make your own dog's ranking of things they want. Food's gonna be at the top for a lot of dogs. I mean, I dare say most, possibly. And I even want to say that for the ones that you might say that food's not their top, there are things you can do to make it their top, their top reinforcer. But if you make a list of the things that your dog finds motivating, the things that they want, the things that they're willing to work for, that's your list of things that you have available to use to train your dog. And without motivation, there's what one of my mentors, Gene Donaldson, says: no motivation, no training. If we don't have at our disposal things that motivate our dogs, we're not going to get any training done. Training just simply does not happen if we don't have motivators. And so food is a top motivator, even among just that one category of, I'm acting as if there's an actual list here. No, but even among that one motivator of just food, you can just click on that, open that up, and there's a whole new, a whole range of values of reinforcers, which that's a show in and of itself. We'll get into that another time. But food it's just very motivating. I mean, and people who say that their dog isn't food motivated, that's not exactly true, because every living being is food motivated. If they weren't, they wouldn't survive very long. It's just that we haven't found the right foods, or used them in the right ways, or in some cases we can actually, if we try training in a way that's not easily understandable, frustrating, or aversive at all to our dogs, they can actually learn that when you get food out under certain conditions, it's going to be a bummer, it's going to be a bad time, and so they can actually learn not to work for food. So you can actually affect food motivated a dog is. But all dogs will work for food under the right conditions, and for that reason, we use it for training. It's that I want to say it's that simple, but that wasn't simple at all, was it? Anyway, so the last couple reasons that I want to tell you that we use food in training are possibly the most important. And I got all serious face for this. So it is because when we're training, when we're using, we use these terms, reinforcement and punishment, to increase or decrease the likelihood of behaviors occurring again in the future. And that's what training is. But there's also always what we say Pavlov on our shoulder. Pavlov being the physicist who taught us about, that the dogs can learn that bell means food, which changes their salivation. We also know that it changes their emotions. So when we're using food, that was that was a roundabout way of getting to this point, which is when we're using food, it has this secondary power to kind of, it affects your dog's perception of whatever else is going on in the environment. So if you're using food, your dog will be forming these positive associations, not just to you, not just to training, not just to the food, but to the environment and whoever else is in the environment and the weather and the anything, right? It has this, and this bit we don't have as much precise control over, but it's one of the big reasons that I call myself a force-free, fear-free, positive reinforcement dog trainer, meaning that I don't use anything that is scary, painful, or aversive to dogs intentionally in my training at all. And this is why. It's because when we're using food, your dog may form really happy feelings about whatever is going on. And I want my dogs, like my personal dog, yes, but any dogs that I'm working with, I want them to feel happy that I'm there. I want them to feel happy about wherever we go. I want them to feel happy in general, right? And so if I'm using stuff that dogs like to shift their behavior, they're gonna be cool with the process. They're gonna feel happy about it. They're gonna be excited, and this is very cool. The happier and more excited they are about the training, the more you're going to get what's called discretionary effort, which means they're going to put that extra oomph into whatever you're asking of them. So say you're working on recall and you're using food, and Joe Schmo next to you happens to be using, I don't know, a shock collar to train recall. Joe Schmo's dog might get trained to come when called, but he's going to do the bare minimum of what he has to not to get shocked. My dog is going to come running because this is awesome, and they're going to come faster, and they're going to be excited and have their tail up and wagging when they get there. They're just going to put more into it because it's awesome for them, right? Discretionary effort is very cool, especially if you like training tricks or, I mean, anything, but tricks is especially fun because tricks are cute and awesome, right? Yeah, discretionary effort is a really, really awesome, fun thing that, like, I always want to, want to have that available. Not only because it, like, gives your training a little extra boost, but it's really entertaining, and it just shows, like, the joy that the dogs are experiencing in training, right? So it's very cool. But on the flip side, if you are using tools like Joe Schmo, just like the food has the power to seep into everything and make your dog feel happy about things, guess what? The flip side is true too. If we're using stuff that is potentially scary or painful or startling to your dog in training, their negative feelings about whatever's going on has the potential to develop. They have the potential to develop bad feelings about whatever's going on. It could be you, it could be the tool, it could be anybody else in the environment, it could be the environment itself, blah, 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 right? I could go on. These are the feelings piece of the training is the bit that we don't have as much precision over. All we can do is choose which tools we use and set the dog up for success, and hopefully the dog feels good about the training. I got a little off track, but it's like, I don't know, this is the meat of the thing. It's like why we use the tools we use, why we train the way we train, and why I am here trying to share this information with you guys is because it's important, and I don't think enough people know yet. So here we go. CK's Index says, I'm food motivated. I am very food motivated too. And we all are, right? If we humans are not food motivated, we will waste away. I mean, that's just how it goes. Food motivated means you are willing to get up and walk to the kitchen and open the fridge and cook or work for that paycheck so that you can buy food or whatever. That's food motivated. I mean, we need food to live, and especially if it's good food, right? There's high value food, and then there's McDonald's, maybe. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean, food is everything, right? I mean, even for us, like food brings people together. Anytime that we have a celebration that we want, like there's always food involved. We have food with everything all the time. And y'all know how much your dogs love food. I don't even have to convince you of that. Like food kind of means everything. Which is why it's a shame that I'm on this stupid diet right now and all I can eat is like chicken and broccoli and kale and but anyway, it is hard. Okay, so those are the reasons why we use food. And I wanted to just give you a little bit of that preface before we go into like, when should you stop? Because so that you understand, first of all, the answer to when can I stop using food is whenever you want to. But when do you want to is that's where it gets more complicated. So that's why the reasons that we train using food come into play is because when you're making that decision, keep all those things in mind. Say says, I use different treats because they all care for different things. So true. The beagles respond to dry food pellets, but Toby only responds to pepperoni bits. Toto is a work in progress still. I need to find something else he loves more than stuffed toys. So he's a toy dog. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too, is like every dog is going to have their own preferences. But the options for what we can use, like the food options for what we can use to train our dogs is almost limitless, right? I mean, as long as we're not giving them grapes, raisins, chocolate, stone fruit, and a few other things, like we can pretty much give them anything. And unless they have food sensitivities and allergies and conditions, blah, 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 disclaimer. But you get what I'm saying. Anyway, so you got a dog. You want to teach him something. You are like, all right, I'm on board. We're using food. We teach him to whatever. We teach him a recall. We'll stick with that example. And now, every time you call him, he comes running. Awesome. Now can I stop using food? Well, let me ask you this. You presumably have a job, and you go to work, and you get a paycheck, and you say when you started this new job, you go through a few weeks of training, and then your boss is like, cool, you know how to do this job, so I don't think I need to give you your paycheck anymore. You just go on, keep showing up, and I'll keep telling you that you're doing a good job, and everything will be cool, right? No, that is not going to fly. None of us, not one of us, is going to continue showing up to that job for very long, right? It is the same with dogs. When we train a behavior like a recall, especially a recall, because recall is like, that's demanding a lot of a dog. we'll talk about recalls another time too. But um, when we train a behavior and we expect them to perform on cue, um, that's like their job, and the food that we've been giving them is like their paycheck. So if we stop all of a sudden giving them their paycheck, guess what's going to happen to that behavior? Um, they're just not gonna keep showing up, you know. And I I love the recall example because I'm as I'm talking about this, I'm imagining exactly like you stand. I'm imagining me standing at the threshold of the house, like calling a dog, and he's just nowhere to be. Like I'm just not going to show up. Sorry, Jennifer. Um, yeah, it that's what's going to happen. Now, fortunately for us, dogs are very optimistic creatures, and also they don't speak English, so we can't tell them, "All right, you've graduated from your paycheck now." So they don't understand maybe right away that the paycheck has stopped coming. But after a few times, they're gonna be like, this isn't paying off, and I was doing something cool. I was talking to the dog next door or sniffing something awesome. um, I don't really want to give up that opportunity to call because I'm not getting paid anymore. So um, so when we stop reinforcing behavior, that behavior tends to go away, unless there is something else that has become a stand-in for the food, something else that is as valuable for the dog to work for, that can maintain the continuance of that behavior occurring on cue. Um, Now they may still come when they feel like it, but when we're training dogs, when we want to know that a dog is fully trained, and they will listen 99% of the time, we expect that they do it under any conditions, right? Not just when they feel like. So if you want that 99%, you have to keep paying them. You have to keep the paychecks coming. Now, I'm not here to tell you that you have to continue to use food forever, although you can. But you have to have something else that the dog values. And so and you have to transition this gradually. You can't just like, okay, we're done with food and now you're getting whatever. And I'll explain. I think it'll become clear when I talk about some of the other ways that we reinforce dogs for good behavior. So what else can we use? um, Now, it does depend on the dog and the moment, and what they want right then and there. But here's a list of some other potential reinforcers for dogs, that we could use in place of or in addition to food. One, your attention, which might mean your eye contact. It might mean you're talking to them. It might mean you actually touching them, whether that's petting them in that certain way they like or scratching that certain spot. But it could be any of those: eye contact, talking, physical touch. It could be a toy. It could be the opportunity to chase a ball if they're ball dogs. It could be the opportunity to play tug with you if they like tug. It could be the opportunity to go play with a toy on their own if that's the kind of dog that they are. It could be the opportunity to go outside. It could be the opportunity to go through any door or gate. I'm thinking of like going through the gate at puppy school. We had layers of gates, for them to go through, and opening of each one got them closer to getting to play with other dogs. That's another big one. It could be, just doors in your house. Say say you're in the bathroom, and your dog is out there whining, and someone else is like, fine, and they open the door to let the dog, like opening of a door. It's something that they might be willing to work for. Getting to sniff stuff. That's a huge one. Dogs are, I mean, aside from eating, sniffing is like top two activities of dogs, I think. So getting to sniff can be a reward, if you use it in a structured way. Getting to dig, getting to move forward, getting to forward motion on a walk, getting to go out on the walk at all. Yes, CK, getting to hump your leg. Anything that your dog wants to do can be used as a reinforcer if you have control over it. Now, oh, thank you, Safrina. She said, I love catching your Facebook lives. Oh, thank you. I mean, I hope this is fun for you. You already, Safrina already knows all this. She's a trainer too, but and Safrina, if you're still here, feel free to add to the list. What else might dogs work for? This can be a collaboration. It just the idea is just to get the information out there. So, chime in all you want. So we've got this list now of a ton of things that dogs might be willing to work for, things that are motivating enough to get them to perform when you want them to. So how do you know which one to use and when? That is the tricky part, right? Because the best reinforcer in any given moment, because it's not going to be the same all the time. It's not going to be the same for every dog, and it's not going to be the same for one dog every day, or even moment to moment throughout the day. The best reinforcer is always going to be the one that the dog wants in that exact moment. So that was a silly example with the bathroom door, but if the dog wanted access to you and opening of the door got him access, then asking him to perform, whatever behavior you're working on for that door, that would be the one that works. If getting to dig a hole in the sand is what your dog loves, then maybe when you're walking toward the beach, walking on a loose leash can be reinforced by removing the leash and letting them go dig a hole. It's whatever they want in that moment. Now that gets tricky, and it's why, going back to why we use food, or why food is so convenient for training, is because when you're teaching a behavior, especially when it's a new behavior, you're first teaching it, like I said, you need lots and lots of repetitions. So you have to have a reinforcer that the dog is willing to work for under various conditions, right? The dog's not going to be able to work for digging a hole at the beach if you're not at the beach. So food you can carry with you, and it's very convenient in that way. So yes, Kuzco loved off-leash time. I mean, off-leash time, heck yeah! Like removing the dog's leash in a safe off-leash area, like that is a massive reinforcer, and you can use that to reinforce walking nicely with you to the spot where they get on. Like that. I hope I feel like I'm not explaining this very clearly, but hopefully it's making sense that like there's a time and place for everything, and all of those rewards that you might give your dog, they're not interchangeable no matter the situation, right? If your dog, retrieved a ball, they brought you a ball to play, and you were like, oh, and pet them on the head, they're gonna be like, what the heck? Like, maybe that dog likes petting, but in that moment they wanted you to throw the ball. They're gonna be like, well, I don't know. And if you wanted that dog to continue to bring you items, bring you the ball, that wouldn't be the way to reinforce that behavior. So it gets tricky when we start to fade away the food. You just have to make sure that whatever you bring in to replace it is appropriate for that dog, for that moment, and what they want in that moment. So wagging tails dog training, thank you. I appreciate it. I like you guys. I'm still like I'm getting used to the streaming, but I still get really nervous and like sweaty. Just like good thing you guys can't smell me. But so the compliments and the positive reinforcement for me is very, very much appreciated. It makes it easier to get up here and talk for you guys. So thank you. But yeah, so the answer, circling back, the answer to when should you stop using food, I like to keep in mind a few things. First of all, um, you can stop using food when you're not teaching anything new. Um, so we've used food for the dog's early learning, so we can get all those repetitions in. The dog knows it very well. You've done this hundreds, if not thousands, of times, and every behavior that you have taught and you want the dog to remember is very strong. Meaning, they're at that, I don't want to say 99%, at least 80%. They're at least 80% reliable on the behaviors that you value, that you want them to know and remember. And those behaviors can be maintained by other reinforcement, or at least when you don't have food available, or I said that backwards. When you're not able to reinforce with something else, you can still reinforce them with food. And that's kind of the message that I want to end with here, is that you can stop using food anytime, really, but you don't have to. And I think that, like, once you get used to carrying that food around or preparing the food at all, because food prep takes some time and energy sometimes. But yeah, once you're just in the habit of preparing food and having it with you, and say, like you said, like putting it in containers around the house, like once you've got these things in place and you're just used to it, at that point you kind of feel like you don't need to get rid of it. You don't have to stop. There's no there's no rules saying that, like, you're a bad dog owner or you're not good at training or anything like that if you never stop using food. I don't plan to. And I think Dizzy's very grateful for that. um, so yeah, it is a choice. If you do find it heavily inconvenient, and you want to have other ways to reinforce your dog, you can use any of those other reinforcers, as long as your dog is one who will continue to work for those reinforcers. That's totally fine. But for those of us who don't feel the need to fade food out completely, that is also a-okay. CK's Antics says, how do you prevent from overfeeding during that reinforcing phase? So this is the Malloway method, part of the Malloway method. I like to use all of my dog's food rations in training. Like, and this, you were watching last week when we talked about the puppy biting, and we talked about other ways to feed our dogs in food puzzles and enrichment. That's part of how Dizzy gets his food, but the rest is in training. He gets zero food, just straight in a food bowl, like a regular meal. So, and that happens to be, you don't have to do this, of course, but it's a good way to prevent overfeeding if you like, I don't know, like, there's a lot of things that I want to train with Dizzy. So because we have a long list of a to-do list, a to-train list rather, I'm like, there's not enough food in the day that I can give him to train everything I want at once. So he gets his daily ration. I measure it out in the morning. That's what he gets, but he gets it all in training or in those food puzzles. So that's how I prevent from overfeeding. Sometimes I forget the measuring part, and I'm just like, I go a little over. So sometimes he does get extra calories, but I don't really buy, like when you go to the pet food store, and there's the food section, and then they have the treat aisles, and I don't really differentiate. I just get, like, for his regular food or his kibble, like, I just get food that he's willing to work for. And so that's how he get it, blah, 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 blah. That's how he gets his calories. It just happens that all his calories go to training. And honestly, even the food puzzles, like, I give those to him strategically, so that they're kind of working towards training goals. Like, you guys, I don't stop training, like, any second of the day. Like, this is, call me crazy, but I just once you understand like how powerful that food is and how you can use it, it's like, why not, you know? Um, so yeah. So like say CK, if say we get to the day comes when I'm like, okay, Dizzy, I've taught you everything I need you to know. I'm old and I don't know how to do an old person voice, but I'm like, no, say the day comes. I'm like, there's really nothing else I need him to know. He's the perfect dog. Um, like at that point, okay, whatever. I'll give him his food in his bowl, or I'll give him, however. But like until that day comes, which I just don't see it happening. Um, I'm just gonna feed him in training. So I just get food that he wants to work for, and I don't buy treats. I just buy high quality dog food. And there's a secondary benefit to doing it this way is that like you all know how important nutrition is. Speaking of that stupid diet that I'm on, but like we know how nutrition affects our health and our joints and our moods and like just how we feel and everything. And this, I mean, it's no different for animals. Like when dogs eat low quality food for years on end, like they may develop issues that affect their moods and their behavior. And a lot of times that stuff goes um, it goes undiagnosed, or it goes like kind of unaddressed because vets are not nutritionists, trainers are not nutritionists. Like there are very few dog nutritionists, and so I if you feel like it, or I recommend checking out like whatever you're feeding your dogs. Look it up on dogfoodadvisor.com. I like that site just to check out like how the food is rated by an unbiased outside source. And it's there's no perfect system. And again, every dog is different, so the right food may be different for different dogs. But knowing what foods work for your dogs and knowing that it's high quality, their food is going to affect their behavior. Their nutrition that they're getting affects their behavior. So if you buy something that's higher quality, they're going to be more willing to work for it probably, but they're also going to feel better and I want to say behave better, but like that's not a direct translation, but you get where I'm saying. Like their food matters. So I get, in classes I would get people all the time like I've got my favorite foods that I recommend people use as training treats, and they're not cheap, and people would be like, well, like, do I have to get this? Like, it's, that treats are expensive. And I'm like, yeah, but since you're going to be giving a lot of treats in training, why not just stop buying their food entirely and get them something that's higher quality? That way, because, and here's another thing, here's another little trick, is that like dog food companies charge more for treats. I know dog food companies that sell the exact same product, and they'll put it in a big bag and label it dog food, and they'll put it in a small bag and label it treats, put it in different sections of the store, and you will be paying way more per ounce for the treats. So go buy the dog food, It's, I mean, to me, it feels like no brainer. So that's my spiel. And I do want to tell you guys, I'm not trying to give any dog nutrition advice. I'm a trainer, not a nutritionist. But that, like, I don't know. I feel like that's pretty undisputable that like when you eat well, you feel well, you act well. That's true for us, true for dogs. That's just how it goes. Okay. So, oh my gosh. And I didn't even read your question yet, but I feel like I kind of spoke to that. She says, quick question, does mood influence training? I noticed that when I'm your mood, when I'm extra sweet to Coco, one of the beagles, he tends to pay attention much better. Yes. Okay. No. So I didn't address the question, but yes, absolutely our moods affect the training. Dogs are amazing, brilliant master readers of body language. And so if you Yeah. If you go into training and you're in a bad mood, your dog's gonna recognize it, and they're gonna be like a little off, you know. So totally affects the training. Which is why when I'm coaching new puppy owners, especially on that recall, that like people want to stand there and they want to be like, uh, I gotta come up with another like go-to dog name other than like Fido and Spot. Like they want to stand there and they want to be like, Lucky, come. And Lucky comes running, and that's it. And I'm like, okay, first of all, if I'm Lucky, like that doesn't look very inviting, you know? So I'm telling like, say it in your happiest voice, you know, and not like some of us are not female, and you know they're like, well, I'm a dude and I want you know, I don't want to do the like really high pitched I can't do voices. They want to like, I can't do the high pitched voice, and I'm like, well, you don't have to, but at least sound happy, you know. So when you call your dog, make it Lucky, come, and then cheer them on. You're their cheerleader. Yes, you can do it. You're such a good dog. Blah, blah, blah. You know, like, yes, your mood affects the training. Your mood totally affects your dog and how they're acting. Absolutely. Um, they pick up on everything, and even the stuff that we don't even realize. It's quite amazing. So, yeah. So you know, and I love like recalls just seems to be the go-to example behavior today, but it's really fitting in this context because there are plenty of times when I've been out with a dog who doesn't have a super great recall, and we have to go. I'm like, we gotta leave, and I try calling that dog, and they are just like, screw you, sister. And I, you know, and I chase them around for 15 minutes, and at that point I'm like, I'm late and I'm mad and I'm just so frustrated, and at that point I want to be like, you know, darn you, Lucky, like, get your butt over here, and you know, but that's not the best way to get the dog to come. So I have to like swallow all my anger, and I have to be like, Lucky, come on, you can do it. Yes, you can. Great job. Awesome. And then we go. But and because this is the example, I want to really emphasize that once you catch Lucky, you can't then switch and then be like, dang it, Lucky, you did, you know, you can't go from like happy, pretend, fake, da da da, and then get angry at them when you catch them, because next time, guess what? Lucky's going to be like, that's that fake happiness, and I am not coming, and you will never catch me. No. So, yes. So don't like, you can't fake it. This, I like, don't lie to dogs. Don't lie to dogs. That is, you guys know I talk about trust and not breaking your dog's trust in you all the time. And usually what I'm talking about is not using the like aversive training tools, not using scare and pain to train dogs. But I mean it in this way too. Like, don't trick your dogs, because they will learn your tricks, and then your tricks won't work anymore, and you'll be like, man, it always used to work, and now he's like sneaky. And I'm like, well, no crap, like, you tricked him, he's not an idiot. So yeah, you don't fake happy your dogs and then catch them and then be mad and punish them, because once they came to you, like, you'd just be punishing the behavior of coming to you when you called, and that's not what you want. That's working against your own interests. That is not the goal. So it's just a moment that we as humans have to just like, you know what? Yes, I'm feeling angry. Yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, this is not the situation I want to be in, but for the greater good, for the strength of that behavior the next time around, I just have to reward Lucky for coming finally when she did come, you know. Yeah, don't lie to dogs. It's not good. CK's Antics says, so don't fake throw the ball. As entertaining as that is, and like, really, what's the, okay, let's break it down, because I don't want to, like, there's no right or wrong answer there about fake throwing the ball. But let's look at it this way. If you want your dog to wait to run after the ball, then fake throwing it until you really want to throw it, like that would work in your favor. Then they're going to wait until it actually goes before they start to run. That's probably not your goal, because who really works on that? Like, for most of us, fake throwing the ball is just entertaining, to like confuse them, or and for most dogs, like, as long as they're still having fun, as long as they're still enjoying the game, there's really no harm done. If your dog gets frustrated by it, maybe that's not something you want to do with that dog. Like, I mean, and actually, I've kind of been watching. So David's been doing this with Dizzy. So we've got a nice long hallway downstairs, and it's great for playing hall ball. But there's what do you call? I'm not gonna know, but like above a doorway, that piece of wall that like comes down from the ceiling. I don't know things, guys. But anyway, like David will throw the ball to hit that so that it bounces right back at him. And Dizzy just like, he'll like run and then it, turn around, and it's essentially fake throwing the ball. And I'm like watching it, and it's like, Dizzy doesn't seem to be too bothered by it. He's still having fun, as long as, eventually the ball does get thrown and he gets, so there's really not that much harm done. Now, if it's shifting your dog's behavior in a way that you don't like, then yeah, don't do that. But other than that, it's not that big of a deal. Now, let's say, another example that I watched happen recently was when we wanted Dizzy like out of the room. I think Dizzy likes to go in David's studio, and there's stuff that Dizzy can't have in there, so we needed to get him out. And so David would like throw the ball out for Dizzy to chase, and then he just shut the door behind him. That is a case of like lying to dogs that I'm like, you might not want to do that, because the next time you're in that situation, Dizzy's a smart dog. He's not going to like chase the ball forever knowing that he's going to get locked out, So that's what I mean by don't lie to dogs. Like, the fake throwing, like, maybe, depends, whatever, Watch the dog in front of you, and just make sure that they're still enjoying this game. If they are, great, have fun. But anything else where you're like, if you need a dog to do something, and you like do something that they get really excited about, so they do it, but then something bad happens, that's what I mean. Like, dogs, that's how you train a dog to be sneaky. So it will backfire, and and you just don't want to break your dog's trust in you also. So anyway, that's my spiel about lying to dogs. That'll come back all the time, because it always does. I think it's like one of the things, one of the things that we love about dogs are, like, they don't lie to us. Dogs are always 100% honest about everything that they're feeling. They show it in every way that they know how. They don't fake pretend to be happy to like dogs are just always so honest and true, and I think we owe it to them to do the same. So that's all I have for you. No. So anyway, point of today's show was when to stop using food for training, and I hope that I've given you some food for thought. There's no straightforward answer, but I just like to make sure that I've given people permission to continue to use food as long as you need to, as long as you want to. It's not gonna hurt you. It's not and as long as like CK pointed out, as long as you're not giving them too many calories, it's not gonna hurt your dog either. You have only the potential for positive things to happen. And so, yeah. Yep. Food for thought. Okay. So, again, as always, thank you guys for watching. If you know any other dog owners who might enjoy watching, might want to learn some stuff about dogs and behavior and training, helps me out if you share these videos with them. And if you're new here, of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully join us next time. So have a great afternoon, everybody, and I will see you on Friday. Bye-bye.